Dude, sometimes the price a man has to pay for a personality is a couple of gay allegations from time to time. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I do in the sense that I feel like the constant name calling probably shouldn't be a thing, and I think that people shouldn't be ridiculed for just being themselves, you know? But like, genuinely, I've kind of just come to terms with it, and I think that's okay. I'm sick and tired of acting like, being enthusiastic is enough of a motive to call somebody gay. But at the same time, that's kind of just what it's come to. And for me personally, it's kind of just become white noise, just background sound. And I drown it out and I just act like I don't hear it because, I know I'm not gay. And I think that's fine. I think it's fine that I am who I am. And I think it's just time, like, that I gotta move on and stop overreacting and taking that stuff personally. For me, I had, like, plenty of stuff going on when I was younger that kind of made me the target for this sort of, I guess, bullying, if you will. Like, all throughout middle school and high school. Literally up until I was 18 and pushing graduation, I was a squeaker. I had such a high-pitched voice, and it had, like, a really feminine cadence whenever I spoke, and people would make fun of me for it constantly. All the freaking time. I think there were even times when I was in high school that I would get mistaken for a girl. It was like so freaking weird. Genuinely, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Looking back at it, I spent so much time worrying about it and feeling super self-conscious about it. But if anything, it kind of just added to my character and made me more of like, it gave my voice a little bit of extra pizzazz. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There were other things though, like for instance, I've always really liked cute things. Liking cute things is just like something I've always done. I really, really, really like animals, cute music, maybe certain kids shows, stuff like that. Like all of that stuff, I'm sick and tired of acting like I don't like it whenever I'm in certain social situations. I often spend so much time just like trying to hide that and trying to act like I don't have interests around people. And whenever I do that though, it just makes me such a flat character. Because, like, I could just try to have all the same interests as every other dude. I could say that I like playing 2K or playing sports or something like that, but everyone already does that. Everybody already has that as an interest. I think it's okay for me to be my own person and to have my own interests and hobbies. I think it's something that people need to learn. Everyone is always, like, acting like they're expected to act a certain way, and maybe they are out of fear of being, called a homosexual, like, as an example, or being called a sissy or a wimp or whatever. But to be honest with you, once you get past a certain age, people just kind of stop caring. There might be, like, a few people that'll, like, in their heads judge you a little bit if you are the type of guy to, like, Hello Kitty or something, I guess. But, like, the general public just doesn't care. And the people who do care tend to be the ones who have fragile masculinity and are just like projecting. So dude, if you like stuff like that, like if you like cute things, like all the power to you. I mean, really just having your own interests and being yourself is such an incredible skill to have, and it will make you just stand out so much. And I think a few allegations are worth it in the end. Especially if you know for a fact that you're not gay. And hey, if you are gay, I mean, like, you got nothing to lose. Another thing that tends to get a lot of, like, weird looks is just being affectionate. And I mean that in the sense as, like, being close with your male friends. If you hug them, hold hands with them, pat them on the back, tap them on the shoulder, whatever it may be, dude, I'm gonna be so for real. There's nothing really that gay about it. Maybe from a societal standpoint, or like from the standpoint of like gender norms, it might look gay. But like, to be honest with you, hugging a dude is not the same as like pulling down your homeboy's pants, bending him over a desk, and freaking rearranging his insides. Those are not the same things. I'm sorry to break it to you. And I'm tired of acting like, that is like an okay thing to just like look at somebody and because of that call them gay. I think it's freaking ridiculous. But to be honest, dude, humans, I mean, we're social animals. We're supposed to be physically affectionate with each other. I mean, within limits, of course. Obviously, I'm not gonna like go around slapping my friends' butts or whatever. That would be a completely different story. I just mean like general physical contact is not a thing that should be looked down upon. And if you're close with your friend and they're okay with it, then you should just go for it, you know? There's nothing wrong with trying to be affectionate towards your friends. If anything, it's a sign that you're a lot more emotionally intelligent than your peers. And I think that's a good thing. That's a good character trait to have. And adjacent to that, I feel like another one is just sharing your emotions and being there for people. I think that's something that's kind of weird. I think people tend to believe that being sympathetic or empathetic even is considered to be a very feminine trait, even though it really isn't. Again, it's kind of just a gender norm thing. So like there have been times that I've been called gay for talking about my feelings or just like saying anything about how I feel in a certain moment, or saying that I feel sad, or for instance crying. Sometimes people look at crying like it's such a feminine thing, but honestly I think it's just because guys are just, they tend to be afraid of it. They're afraid of crying because of how long it's just been looked down upon. But honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing to open up every now and then, to comfort your friends. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I feel like there's a certain point where like, I feel like there are like a lot of things, people just gotta realize it's not bad to do these things. And I mean, among all of these things, there's like plenty more stuff that like people get accused of being gay for. And it's just like freaking, it's crazy, dude. It's so freaking crazy. But to be honest with you, I really don't think we should be trying to like hide our true selves just to avoid getting called gay. I think that's ridiculous, because if you know you're not gay, then you have nothing to be scared of. So that's why I like kind of think like sometimes like the price you gotta pay for a personality is just a few gay allegations from time to time. You know, there's obviously nothing wrong with being gay, but I think it's a bit ridiculous, the point that people take it to. Like honestly, dude, some people treat it like it's a matter of life or death, as if being called gay is somehow a fate worse than death. Like it's literally like getting put onto death row and tortured. But genuinely, it's not that big of a deal. That's why I've come to terms with it. It's become background sound for me, and it doesn't bother me anymore whenever people accuse me of being gay just because I might have a little bit of a softer voice, or I might have a few slightly feminine interests, or I like to hug my friends whenever they're feeling down, or even if I'm just like enthusiastic. I think it's important to like not shove yourself inside a box and be so terrified of getting out of it that you don't even show your true self to the world. Really, it's really saddening. So to anybody watching this video, obviously like don't go overboard or anything, you know, but some advice I have to give you, if you're like struggling with just trying to be yourself, or you feel like you fear like judgment from your peers because you might like act in a little bit more of a feminine manner, all I gotta say is, number one, like you're not alone, and number two, there's nothing wrong with being just a little bit feminine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, like, dude, some people are just soft-spoken. Some people just naturally are drawn to cute things. Some people can't live without being affectionate towards their friends. And some people just tend to be a little bit sentimental, and they just pour their hearts out. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know? Be yourself and screw what other people think, dude. I'm sick and tired of acting like I'm supposed to act a certain way around people in public or whatever. I just try to be respectful and try to be honest. And I think those two things are what matters the most. So honestly, bro, like, just get out there and just be yourself, dude. I got nothing else to say. So yeah, thanks for listening to my rants, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.